Awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much for coming tonight, you guys. I have, there's actually a dozen people registered for tonight, so I'm going to make sure that I record it and keep it as close to the hour as I can so that I don't keep you guys all night, but that I can offer a recording that's not going to drag on because I babble too much. So I do have a little bit of a screen presentation here, so I'm just going to share it away and hope that my cats don't make too much noise in the background. Why they do that as soon as I start getting on the computer, always, right? Absolutely, always.
We love little cats. We love cats.
They are so fun. They
Yes,
honestly are
we
so
like
fun.
them. We love them.
They keep us humble, that's for sure, right? All righty. Can you guys see that screen okay right now?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right. So basics of breath work. Hang on, everybody. Here we go. So I'm just going to move my little thing out of the way here so I can read. All right. So I am super excited to have you guys here. I have this week and next week planned to basically allow you guys to embrace every single thing about breathwork that you can in 2 hours or less. We're going to do a breathwork ceremony next week with some music. And that's going to enable us to embrace this Soma breathwork. Soma breathwork is one of my favorite kinds because it can go to music, it can just go to a beat. But what it is literally rhythmic breathing, doing a really long hold on the breath out, and then kind of getting back into some rhythmic breathing again. So it's testing those limitations of the brain and all the chemicals that it can produce. So Soma breathwork is basically made to empower people. It's made to give them the knowledge and the techniques to make this lasting change on a cellular level. So when we talk about total transformation, we do all of this mindset work. This breath work is what our body is. It's our innate ability to release stress. That's one of the major reasons of breathing. And so there's so many kinds of breath work. We can get really snowed under and overwhelmed and not even go there. So I'm going to demystify it a little bit in that when we look at Soma breath work and something called holotropic breath work, all that means is it's to music. It means you're going to a specific beat and the actual vibrations. So in Soma, they use the sound vibration, they use the beats, and they use the timing and the space, and then they use the music to create that sort of pause. And it's really nice. And that's what we're going to do next week. So it'll be really fun. But you guys are going to have some homework this week to kind of experiment with some different kinds of breathwork and sort of go through some of these techniques. Neurodynamic, you'll hear people like, oh, I do the neurodynamic breathwork, blah, blah, blah. All that means is you're using sound with it. So that's a part of Soma. It's just not with the beats, it's with just vibration or humming. So you're actually doing breathwork with sound. So you'd be breathing in and then you would be going, oh, on the breath out kind of thing. Like they actually have you making sound in neurodynamics. So it's a different release, and it's all about releasing the vagal nerve. It's just sometimes people really resonate well with making that sound and they really get that release. The Wim Hof method, which is one of my favorites, where it is it's all about intense breaths, cold showers. You're doing 30 times holding your breath as long as you can, holding on the exhale. Then you take a deep breath in and you hold it. And then you just breathe regularly, and then you wait for a minute, and then you go back into the heavy breathing. And so that was what we did on Tuesday, where we did a really intense hold on the out, bring it in, hold it. And it's intense because it brings in some serious chemicals. So if people want to really get what it can do, that's sort of where I kind of go forward if they've taken a little bit of breath work, if they're sort of, if this isn't our first time meeting. Some of the different styles, however, are confusing as well, because a lot of people talk about diaphragmatic breathing, where it's just from music. They teach you to use your diaphragm, yogic breathing, box breathing. It's all the same. It's all coming from the belly. That's the biggest thing. The coherent breathing, the resonant breathing, it's all about breathing with intention, breathing with sound again. Nasal breathing is going to trigger certain parts of the amygdala to create that stress response to stop, right? The yogic breathing is just, it's just belly. Lion's breath is the same as Wim Hof. It's as big as you can on the out, and you open your mouth and your jaw. And some people get right down on all fours and they do the cat stretch as they do it, and they feel powerful with a release, like it's really cool. Box breathing, simple. You're building a box, so you're holding for 4, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. It's just literally that sort of a rhythm, but we're holding in between, because the space in between the breath, you hear about that all the time, the space in between the breath. Now you're going to understand what it really means to experience the space between the breath. That is where all the chemicals are produced. That is where your field, God, everything can speak to you through that field, because all of those chemicals are being produced to allow that to happen. That's what we are truly intended for. Just like right now, all of us are truly intended for more. I mean, you guys can probably, I had a few times today that popped into my head where I remembered saying to myself, I'm meant for more than this. Like there was a few times, even when I, like when things were really low, when I was at a job or something where I was doing it, and it was, you'd rather jam a fork in your eye. You just know this is not what you're supposed to do. And with something just like breathing right, you can change those chemicals in your brain so that even if you have to go into a job for right now that's going to get you through or get through a time, or you have a horrible health indication, you've been diagnosed with something, even that this is a way to actually get your body to turn on its healing again. We're teaching the body that we're paying attention, that we're tuning in, that's all it's been waiting for, and it just goes, thank you. And it releases in so many ways. And that's why you have to be into the mindset to be an instructor, all this kind of stuff, because you need to know how to deal if someone's releasing a trauma on your table and they're shaking uncontrollably. And like, I've seen all sorts of responses, right? Like everything from laughing hysterically, which scared the crap out of me the first time because it's not what you expect, but it's a very common thing to happen. Or they've had orgasms because we do the root lock, and they've been so locked up and it happens, right? Or they have to run and go pee. There's so many things that happen during this. You have to be able to be sort of pliable to something like that, right? And to talk someone through it, because their body just told them they were going to die, and they may have just had a near-death experience. Like that's literally what can happen. So it's really amazing. If you're just kind of diving in, I do make sure that tonight you have someone around. We're not going to be as intense as the other night. So if someone's not around, just lie down when you're doing the actual breathing part at the end, because I promise we are going to get into some, but we're going to kind of go through more of the technique and go through the 3 of the sort of really easy, good techniques, just so that you're clear on them and you can practice them throughout life going on this week. And then hopefully by next week, everybody will be caught up on the replay, and we'll have a good 12 to 15 people here to have a ceremony where you have everyone's energy. We all just lie down. We all put a mask on. It's like we go get a sleep mask, and I just play the music and you just listen, and we move our body. Like if you feel, I don't know if you guys have ever lied in bed and you've just rocked your hips, like just in the bed. That's a trauma release. Try it tonight, Christiana. Lie on your stomach on your bed and just rock yourself. I'm sure Samara has, because we learned that as a technique for massaging. You put your hand on someone's sacrum and you just gently rock them with just your fingertips, and their whole body just rocks. And it's beautiful. It just puts them into that sort of theta state, and the body will release if it's rocking. So you'll see a lot of people, if like I've been on breath ceremonies where we have 100, 200 people, and sometimes I'll just sit and get a little caught up in the gallery, because it's amazing. People are like, they're just moving their hands, they found their energy ball, they're playing, they're like, They're doing this as they're breathing, they're rocking. Some people are up and jumping around and shaking, and like, it's amazing. People's bodies just release in such cool ways. It's like something you've never seen before. And if my husband came in on me doing a breathwork ceremony, he's seen me doing it, but I usually just sort of mute it and go to the other room. Chris, he can handle the breath work. It gets gets a little shady on that. All right. So why breath work? It literally connects that body and mind. It literally engages. It tells one to work with the other, not just trying to overpower one with the other, depend on will, depend on use these chemicals we have in our body. It's seriously helped people. There are so many cases of I've read, heard, seen cancers go away. MS, seizures, like, not that I'm saying this is going to fix everything, but with the power of belief and proper oxygenation, you would be amazed what can happen, because that's what it is. When we're breathing through our chest, we're getting 30% of the oxygen that we need every day. And most of the time when we're in shock and trauma and stress mode, we're chest breathing. We're not engaging our belly. It's shut off. We're tuned out of our body so that we can just be and do, right? When we engage that diaphragm, we get 70% more. That's 100% of our oxygen being able to get into our bodies. 97%, sorry, it's not exactly 100, but that diaphragm is what really engages that. So any kind of, especially gut issues, or one of the kids I've worked with before had bedwetting problems. I unlocked his root chakra. He never wet the bed again. And his mom still laughs about that. This was probably 30 years ago, because I wasn't even graduated from massage yet. I was just doing the energy work, and it literally helped. Like, he's married now, and she was joking about the wedding, kind of like the chiropractor does with me. Bringing my daughter there, she was so constipated, I brought her there, and no problem. We're not getting invites to the weddings. So what we can do is actually reset our energy system, reset our nervous system, reset that stored trauma that sits in there, all those invisible scars, all those things that have just been in our body unintentionally. They can actually be released, believe it or not, by your body. It has that ability, and it's breathing. It's just breathing. No one cannot do it, and no one can do it wrong. You really can't mess it up. Even if I'm trying to teach you the techniques and you're like, I'm lost, you cannot do it wrong. Go back to 6-6 breathing. Breathe in for 6, breathe out for 6. Breathe in for 6, breathe out for 6. That's always going to bring you back down to that regulation. So you really can't do it wrong. And same thing with the nose and the mouth. Everybody's like, do I do it through the nose? Do I do it through the mouth? For me, it's whatever feels more comfortable to you. If we're trying to do a certain work and I'm doing a chakra clearing for sacral plexus, where I really want you to do that nasal breathing, I'm going to make you do that for a few minutes. But if I'm telling you to nasal breathe or breathe through your nose, and you have a deviated septum or something, and it's feeling like you're starving for air, breathe through your mouth. Or if you're trying really hard to breathe through your nose and that's throwing you off, breathe through your mouth. It's fine, right? The biggest thing is getting that air in through the belly. So right now we're going to do a little technique, because I can feel us all like sinking into the field already, kind of relaxing. Things are already starting to, it's so much information, right? So we're going to do a little breath work technique that is going to stimulate us and actually allow us to just jump right into some DMT production and some oxytocin and some dopamine right now, just like get relaxed and energized all at the same time. So I'm going to teach you something that comes, this is actually one of the pulse techniques, and some people call it the triactive, I just call it, I usually call it the triple breath, because it's basically trying to move the air through your body. So what I do is, it's funny, this is my own technique, because it was a mixture of pulse and Joe Dispenza. So I'm not even gonna call it say go here, go here. This is my technique, okay? I love it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a breath, but we're gonna start by filling up our belly. So when we take that breath in, we're gonna basically, sometimes we say put a book, or with kids when I was teaching breathwork, I would make them make paper paper airplanes while we talked about it. They would lie down, put the paper airplanes or boat, because some of them just wanted a boat. They could do that. They would put it on their belly and I would make them breathe, but make it rise and fall, right? So it's as soon as your boats and hats are going up in the same fashion, then we can end up breathing together and having this. And as soon as they all sort of started to hear each other breathe and see the boats, it was like this unison of breath from children. And it was like the most purest source of energy that I have ever felt in my life. And they sink into it and love it, right? So this is something, if if you're having a hard time with it, put a book on your belly, put anything on your belly to just make it a paperback, not a big heavy textbook, obviously, and make it move up and down so that your belly is actually getting that oxygen in. So first we bring it into the belly, then we bring it into the chest, and then we bring it into the head. So it's an interesting thought to bring, I know, right? To bring your breath into your head. If with Joe Dispenza, it's very familiar. This is what he does. He brings the oxygen up to the head. So what I try and picture out is a balloon in the belly, a balloon in the chest, and a balloon in the head filling. So what we do is we take a breath in of literally belly, chest breath, and it'll sound a lot like this. So you go, and you're actually going belly, chest, head. And we're going to separate it less. We're going to make it more fluid. I'm kind of exaggerating it so that you guys can hear. So what you're going to want to do is just fill up one at a time gently. So picture right now, breathing in through your mouth or your nose, literally this is just a practice run. We're going to go belly, chest, and then bring it to head. Even try belly and chest first, just to give yourself that. Let's go belly, chest, just to start off easy. So let's fill up our, so do a double breath. So go belly, chest. Do you feel how that can fill more when you go from belly to chest?
Yes.
Okay. So now, once that chest is full, we're going to take a little sip more, just a little sip more. And that air is going to be brought up into the head. And if you can do 2 little sips, great. Okay. So let's try that. We're going to do one more breath in. So go belly, chest, little sip into the head. So good. And out. Awesome. So that breath out, you want it to be like you're blowing out a birthday candle. Not super strong, but like a big straw, Yeah. So if you want to breathe in through your mouth, that's fine. If you want to breathe in through your nose, that's okay. That's wonderful. I love breathing through the nose. So we're going to do this a little longer. We're going to do a few breaths so you guys can kind of get into it. And I just want you to connect with your breath. Don't worry so much about it getting up into the head. The biggest thing is I want you to fill your belly up and then fill your chest and almost imagine your side lungs filling. If you had like an extra little pocket on the sides of your lungs that just filled up when you took that nice deep breath into the chest. So for just a minute, I'm going to allow you guys to just connect with your breath. And we're just going to breathe normally for a minute. And then when you're ready, I want you to really start focusing that breath from your belly, moving up into your chest on a nice big full breath. Bring it up into your head as much as you can. And then just start breathing out nice and big. And then breathe back in. Keep going. Just bring in that air as much as you can. And out. See if you can get those balloons a little bigger, as comfortable as possible. And when you relax that breath, when you release it, allow your shoulders, allow those muscles to release. Give yourself a few nice, more big breaths. And on your next breath in, I want you to hold it. for about 10 seconds. So hold it at the top and holding it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Go back to those nice big breaths. So big breath in. Making it as fluid as possible. Filling up with as much air as possible. And breathing out and releasing all at the same time, relaxing all the muscles in your body. Relax those pelvis floor muscles. Keep breathing. About 5 more nice deep breaths, and we're going to do a nice big hold again on that breath in. Keep going. Next deep breath in, we're going to hold it. So take a deep breath in. In. Holding at the top for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Releasing all of the muscles in your body, even those pelvic floor muscles, your leg muscles. We're going to take just a few more breaths. And I want you to just regulate your breath. Just bringing your breath to normal. And I want you to just notice your breath now, just regulated, just normal. It can be in through your nose, out through your nose, however you want. And I want you to just imagine right now who it is you need to be to create the vision that you really want to see in life. I want you to look at that. Ask yourself who you need to be. Just enjoy that chemical response. Just enjoy what happens. Nothing big. It's just a fun question. Just enjoy that for a moment. And if you feel thoughts starting to take over, like, I need to get the grocery shopping done, this is dumb, why am I doing this? I want you to think about being a fawn in the bush right now, and there's something that's lurking. And you have to take a silent breath. You have to be absolutely silent for just 2 breaths. And I want you to practice what a silent breath would feel like. So right now, try and do 2 silent breaths with making no noise. And if you can't do it, take a breath in, take a breath out, and then try and restart and just take 2 silent breaths. You can move, but you don't want to hear anything. And then just go back to regulated breathing. Do you feel how that can actually affect your heart rate? It can actually, I know Christiana's energy is really strong because she's like really sensitive to that stuff. And I think Samara and Nikki, you guys probably are too. You can almost feel your high heart flutters.
Yeah.
It's your body listening. It's going, I'm here. It's so amazing. And I find that happens too with positive responses to the body, or when something's kind of right, you get that little flutter. It's just knowing you're sort of in touch with that high heart. That's usually that high heart opening is what that sort of, and so it's beautiful, right? So that that triple breath, where we call it the triple because you're trying to get it to 3 spots, starting with 1, it takes me sometimes 3 hours to just get someone to belly breathe. So if you didn't get this the first time, to anyone watching this on a replay, don't feel bad. It takes a lot of, if you haven't been a musician, if you haven't done yoga, if you haven't done breath work regularly, this is something that can seem really simple, and everybody thinks breathing should just be easy, but actually following and getting those chemical responses is kind of the trick, right? Because if you're going to do something, you want to be able to do it right and make the absolute most out of it. So one of the chemicals that you heard me mention before is DMT. So that's the dimethyltryptamine, and it's the dream chemical, the one that comes out in delta state, where all of those inventions that I've talked about before with my breathwork classes and sleeping, when you are in that unconscious state, when you're sleeping in that theta state, that's when the most amazing discoveries and things like airplane, something about the airplane was thought of then, the sewing machine needle, he thought of it in a dream. I always remember that wacky story because he dreamt that there was a fight, there was warriors, and they had these long daggers that had these holes in the end, and he went, that's how I can get the thread through, and invented the sewing machine. Like, these things come up when we're sleeping. What we make of them is something else, right? Because we have wacky dreams, but it's because of that DMT, it's because of those chemicals. And yogis and mystics, they're all generally, they will say they're buzzed all the time on their own chemicals, because simply by breathing, they're engaging that parasympathetic nervous system to, everything starts working again. Everything, they can just see so clearly. So it's really neat. Even Stephen Barker, he actually says in a study that he truly believes that most of the DMT is produced in the lungs. So that's why, again, people that have sleep apnea that aren't breathing properly can't get to proper delta states, because their lungs won't allow them to get those chemicals and that melatonin to produce enough to help them to sleep, right? Same thing with snoring. You're just not going to be rested, and it's for so many more reasons chemically than just lack of oxygen. So there's people that do this soma breath work where we do a big retention, when what I mean by retention is holding, but we do it on the breath out. So you know how we just did the breath in, we held for 10 seconds? Wim Hof method, the soma method, you do a big breath out and then you hold. And people have held their breath for like 3 minutes or more. Some can go into states where their hypoxia level, though, that oxygen monitor that you would put on in the hospital where it's supposed to say 93% or more, they have it, it goes down to 50. And I've seen them reduce it to 50% in 3 minutes of not breathing. And then all of a sudden they'll just be like, and then they take another deep breath out and they go back in and they hold it again for another 3 minutes. So to do it, like, we're starting with 10 seconds. And that's what I mean by intensity. Like, once you start doing some serious breath work, you don't have to do it for 3 minutes. But if you do, say, 30 good breaths and then do a nice hold out and we call that a round, when you do about 30 breaths and then a breath retention and then go back, do a round or two of that even during the day, you're going to be literally setting your DNA up to heal itself. So the things, if you were going to be doing breath work, you would want to be careful of, to be comfortable, to be safe. If you had something like a real acute illness like COVID and things like that, because a lot of people have asked me about breath work for COVID and I have a completely different course for that. But if you have a pacemaker, it can mess up with your heart rate, and it can trigger a pacemaker a little bit. So I know I'm pretty sure that you guys don't have them. And on the replay, if any of these things are a concern, this is something you don't want to do. Or if you are pregnant. Now, this is just breath retention. This is the holding. breath work in general is wonderful. And it's actually another course that I have for pregnancy that we do breath work, right? Because it's huge for pregnancy. But for doing something like this is the breath retention that we want to be really careful of as far as epilepsy and seizures and things like that. That's if I'm doing something in a general course, usually I'll kind of make sure that, you know, everybody's just sort of on that level. So if you were teaching someone, this is just something that you would want to keep in mind, because I know a lot of you are coaches. So this might be something that you're going to try and coach someone through. You want to make sure that those things are the case. So rhythmic cases, you want to go 4-4 or 6-6, and that's going to calm your anxiety. That's going to sort of get you motivated. If you do a shorter breath in and a longer breath out, you're going to increase retention. You're going to increase what you learn. You're going to increase brain flow. So it's a really great way. A lot of times at the beginning, I'll make people do that, where they just do a 6 in, 8 out, or a 4 in, 8 out, because it actually gets them listening to me better, and they'll pay more attention for that next little while. Just kind of like I broke us into a bit of a breathwork thing, just to kind of, you know, get your chemicals flowing. And now stuff is kind of sinking in a little bit differently, right? So I love having an eye mask, because what it does is it stops you, because a lot of times with the breath work, we tend to open our eyes, because it can be a little scary if you're trying to do the retention, or if you feel lost. You tend to get out of yourself. So this really makes you get into yourself, having that sleep mask. So they're wonderful for breath work. A comfortable place to lay down. You can have a pillow, you can have without a pillow. It doesn't really matter. You can lay on a bed, you can lay flat, you can sit, you can do it on a meditation pillow. If it's something that you're going to be really starting with the retention, I tend to tell people to lay down. So one of the things that I am going to have you guys do with me is that breath retention, because I want you to be able to experience it, so that I can kind of see you go through it, just to make sure that you kind of have it, and make sure if you have any questions after. Now, the things that you may experience that may come out of a breathwork session are sometimes nothing, but the breath work is still good for you. So you don't have to have a completely psychedelic experience to know that it worked for you. You're simply oxygenating your brain, so we know it's working for you. You cannot do it wrong. You may get pictures in your head. Sometimes the unconscious field, the superconscious field, likes to communicate with symbols, right? So you might see some kind of weird symbol. You might see something from the past. You might see it. It's all just meant to come up in the field. Nothing that isn't going to be safe today won't come up in the field, just because I'm setting that intention even before I start the class, to make sure that, you know, we're not diving into big, deep stuff here today. We're just really going on a safe, it's very safe. You know, that's the biggest thing. I almost always have to tell people it's safe to breathe. It's just safe to breathe. And they're just like, oh, like that tells your body something right there. Because we don't, you know, breathing is our only defense mechanism. It's the only thing that it controls our whole fight or flight response. And it stops the minute that we get traumatized. And what'll happen is that fascia in, like, the membrane around all your muscles, your diaphragm, everything, it twists and it winds and it tightens even more, to the point where I have to do massage to release that fascia, to get things moving, just so people can breathe. That's why sometimes it takes 3 hours to get into belly breathing. So whatever you can do is great. If you're not getting the belly breathing, that's okay. Just keep practicing. Use your chest if you need to, but keep trying to create more space in your body. And we're going to do a little body scan and just kind of get the breath to try and go to every single cell of our body. So sometimes you get a little fluttery, you'll get muscle twitches, little things, little flutters in the muscle. Sometimes they'll vibrate. I've actually completely vibrated for almost 45 minutes after a session, and my arms were raising off the bed. I was just lying there. I feel like I sound crazy sometimes because, but it literally happened. Like, it was crazy. You may cry, you may need to move, you laugh, you be completely blissful, or that monkey mind may take over and all of those thoughts might start coming in and you might completely lose train of thought. That's when I'd like you to just come back to 2 silent breaths and then just get back into whatever we're doing, because the silent breaths are just going to turn that monkey mind off and you're going to be able to regulate back into your breath again. So we've kind of, we've sort of learned a few. We've learned the tri breath. We're going to go into the retention, and then we're just going to do some rhythmic breathing at the end, at the beginning here, so that you guys have a real taste of the 3 ways to kind of get yourselves into the most relaxed state that you can. So what we did at first was to really start producing some of those chemicals to get things energized. I like doing I like doing a treatment like that just as a really easy way to start out with someone who's beginning. If I'm going to do an intermediate breathwork session, we kind of go into something more like this. And I'm going to keep it very, very basic. We're just going to cover 2 things in one. So it's just going to flow. I'm not going to do any recodes or anything like that. We're just going to literally breathe together. Are you guys up for this for a few minutes?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, I encourage staying on camera, but I do understand also that I'm recording this for people to watch on a replay. So if you don't want to breathe on camera, I don't mind at all if you shut yours off. That being said, I can keep my eye on you if you're nervous about anything. If I notice anything, I'm usually pretty good with facial recognition. I used to watch people's bellies, but it's hard to do that from Zoom land. So I'm getting a little bit more astute at watching just if people are struggling, because sometimes it can be tough. And just sort of encouraging you to get back into the breath. So I think my last little slide here is just what I'm going to be doing next week. So I did tell you guys a little bit. I'm going to be doing the breathwork ceremony while I do a little bit of energy work on you guys, and we're going to do some different styles of breathing to music, and have the Soma breathwork where we are going to go into some certain techniques that we're going to go through during the ceremony, and then we're just going to hop right in. So it's going to be like a good half hour, 40-minute, just really amazing breathwork ceremony together. So it'll be so fun. I love it. All right. Are you guys ready to breathe with me? I'm going to stop my share so I can see better. Awesome. So I'm not going to use music for this, just so that you can actually focus. And we're going to use the next probably about 10-15 minutes to just get into some breath and get into our bodies. Are you guys okay with that? Sound all right? Excellent. Okay. I am going to ask you guys to close your eyes, set the intention to learn to just connect with your breath and your body and your spirit and your body, and just bringing them together. I want you to just notice your breath right now, just regulated breathing, how you would normally breathe. And we're going to breathe in a bit of a rhythmic fashion where when you're breathing in, I want you to focus on filling your belly and your chest. And I want you to listen to my voice and just allow the breath to be carried to each cell of your body one at a time. So right now I'm going to have you get into a 6-6 breathing. We are going to breathe in for 6 seconds and then out for 6 seconds. So when you're ready, I'm going to count us in on the count of 3. We're going to breathe in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One last one in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out, and 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. Hold on this exhale right now. Just hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now I want you to just go back to your regulated breathing. And I want you to just feel that expansion as you allow your breath to move all the way down to your very little toe. Your very itty bitty down, all the way down to the little pinky toes or knees. Sorry, Christiana, I love you. I'm doing this purposely. I just have to tell you guys, Christiana has had her most of her legs removed, unfortunately, due to many surgeries. And so I'm doing this on purpose with her because we joke all the time. She's the most beautiful thing in the whole world. And but the thing is you still have them. They're in you're a spiritual imprint, the one that you were born with. So I want you to feel your toes right now. Okay. Yeah. I want you to feel them. That's my girl. I love it. I love it. Send your breath down there. And I want you guys to, again, go back to your regulated breathing. I'm sorry, I totally interrupted that. She's just so beautiful. I have to share this because we're blessed right now to be with her energy. And I want you to imagine those cells down there opening up to oxygen as far down as you can imagine. Down where the bottoms of the feet would be, the heels, the ankles, the leg bones, the calves, the knees. Feeling that breath right down there. Just imagine. Let it go down there. Filling it with love, filling it with light, filling it with your oxygen, your breath. If that monkey mind is going, do a couple of little silent breaths. I want you to notice how your breath feels going in your nose or your mouth. Just how does it feel going in? Is there a taste? Is there a feeling? Notice if that feeling comes up, you can actually breathe it out. And I want you to notice how there's so much air. Draw it into your body, down into your hips. Allow that breath to come down into your thighs, into your hips. Feel those muscles right now. Are they tight? Are they contracted again? Allow your whole low back, your glutes, your pelvis, allow it to just relax in your chair right now. Allow roots to feel like they're growing out of your tailbone, just down into the earth, grounding you. There we go. If there's anything that you feel is negative, you can literally send it down those roots. Or breathe it out and watch it just get cleansed and completely transmuted as you breathe it out. And as we get to the low back and into that belly, into that solar plexus, I want you to focus on filling that belly. And we're going to do a nice box breath for this sacral chakra and this solar plexus. We're going to just breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and hold for 4. So when we're ready,
I'm leaving.
I love you.
Bye.
Have a good night at work. Sorry. We're going to do box breathing. All right. On the count of 3, we're going to start. All right. 1, 2, 3. We're going to breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and out. 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and in. 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and out. 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and in. 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and out. 4, 3, 2, 1, and in. 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. And we're going to go back to our regulated breathing. That feels a lot more open. Just noticing your breath. And I want you to just imagine your breath now moving in through that chest, feeling it as you're breathing in, into that chest and out. In through the chest, and out. And I want you to just imagine every cell in that whole heart chakra, in that whole chest, in all of your shoulders. And we're going to travel down the arms. And I want you to let that breath go all the way down your arms. Right down into every little finger. You guys are doing so beautifully. Focusing on your breath, letting your breath take it out. There we go, letting that breath just take it out. I'm just winding down this heart center a little bit. There's so much in there. You guys are doing so good. Focusing on that breath. allowing a couple of those silent breaths if the monkey mind starts to go. And I want you to just fill your whole heart center with love, with oxygen, with acknowledgement. I feel like you're saying, I've got you, to your heart. Allowing that breath. We're going to do a few more breaths and we're going to do one more breath retention. I feel like you guys are ready for this. So we're going to go in. So we're going to go 6-6 breathing. So we're going to go in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now a big exhale out, as big as you can, as long as you can. Exhale out as much as you can and hold it at the end of that breath. The very, very bottom. Empty your diaphragm right out. Ooh, even give it a noise. Ooh, get it all out of there and hold. Hold as long as you can. Hold it as long as you are comfortable with until your body tells you to breathe again. Just go there. And if you think you have to breathe, maybe hold it for another second or two. Just see if you can. See what your body can do. Nice. Breathe regularly. Good. Good. Wow. You guys are amazing. And just breathe regular. Go back in right now. Close your eyes. Enjoy that oxygen. Tune into your breath right now. Let it go to wherever it needs to go in your cells, however it needs to go there. Let your body regulate it. What is your body telling you? Just let it regulate. Just enjoy. Feel the love that's radiated. This is that pure, energetic vibration, reset in sync with the earth, with the moon, inside of you, outside of you. Just notice how your breath feels going in, where it's going. Scanning up through that throat chakra. Letting your breath naturally flow through that throat chakra. Let your body tell you how that breath has to come through that heart chakra. Try mouth breathing, try nose breathing, let it out. And now I want you to imagine the breath being pushed up through that throat chakra, bringing it up into your third eye. This is a trick, you guys, to literally compress the crystals out of your pineal gland with your breath by drawing it up physically through your body, through your diaphragm, through your lungs, up into the middle of your brain. I want you to just imagine, with every regulated breath, sending it up just a little bit more. Bringing your breath as high up into your head as you can. Can you bring it past that third eye and right into the crown How far can that breath go up? If you can see white, you're literally decalcifying your pineal gland. You're into that state where your brain is open and regulated. And I want you to take one last scan through your body. If there's any more tension, is there tension in your face muscles, in your head, in your scalp? Is there anything holding there that just needs to let go with a really nice breath out? What if you could bring your breath into your ears right now? Go through the rest of your body, noticing if there's any tension in the shoulders. Maybe it just needs a little bit more breathing right into that area. Take a couple nice deep breaths. Give that left side of that upper back a bit of a breath in. Send it some oxygen right to that spot. Maybe that low back and pelvis are still a little tight. Pay attention. Did your muscles contract again? Are they tight again? Release all those muscles in the pelvis and the hips. And allow the muscles in your legs to literally relax. And that, my beautiful friends, is Breathwork 101. How was that? Did you get lost? Was anything scary? Please share. I'd love to hear. In fact, well, is it okay with you guys if I record? Just because it's great for learning purposes, if nothing else. Is that okay? Okay.
Sure.
You feel safe with that? Okay. Okay. Because this is safe. That's the most thing. I don't mind shutting it off. Or you could just say, that was great, Jackie. We'll talk later. I love you. I appreciate that too. How did you go, Nikki?
Yeah, it's quite experience because I did the 4 breath work, I told you, but this was it was lovely because I just followed you because I did wanted to go with your breathe in and breathe out and then hold.
Right.
But yeah. So, but I felt there was like after that, every exercise that we did and we breathe normally, it was like so light in my chest.
Oh, good.
There was just light. I felt like
So good.
light, this
Good. That's
nice,
beautiful.
easy feeling. And
That's
I like how you
beautiful.
told us to relax because I could feel that my hips weren't relaxed.
Every time it was like, I think it was like each time it was all contracted again. Hey, did you guys
Yeah,
notice
and
that
I'm
too?
glad you mentioned that because then
It
it
was
gave me
interesting.
conscious to just relax it again. I didn't even know that I was tensed up.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Till you told
Yeah.
me relax.
Yeah.
And
And
then
this
I
is
did.
this is why so many women have pelvic floor issues, because we are contracted 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And so it's actually like everything is just completely wound up, right? So nothing has the chance to ever relax and flush like it needs to. So it
Wow.
just, it blocks up all the energy too. It's crazy.
Wow,
It's
so
so
that's really
crazy.
enjoyable.
The one neat thing is I could notice after, sometimes I felt someone thinking, I thought I should be able to breathe more at this point. Like it was like this should be easier as it was going through, but it felt like there was some stuff moving up. And so I want to explain what that is. I don't know if anyone is experiencing that, but okay. Because what happened there is it was quite strong. And when I looked at you, it was like, yeah, okay. So what will happen is it's like you think I'm making all this room. I should have like my lungs should be getting bigger. They should be able to take in more air with every breath. But what happens as we move this breath through the body, some of the trauma comes up to certain places, like the solar plexus, so it was literally some of that trauma, some of that stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be labeled as trauma, although it was to your body, right? It moves through. But the other thing that can happen is in the evenings when we do breathwork classes, it's tougher. So the one thing I'm going to tell you is if you do this in the morning, when your body is still in theta state, when you're first waking up, morning time, like within the first couple hours, because even eating something, being around other people, their energy packs your energy down, it takes up your space, right? So we have less of it. And so if we've just eaten, breathwork can be tough. If it's evening, breathwork can be tough. If it's, so if the more stuff you've had going on throughout the day, that was kind of like your daily downloads coming out. So the deeper stuff, it comes after the daily downloads. That's why it's good to do it in the morning, because you don't have the daily download stuff to get rid of first. Kind of like with massage, I would work on them first and then have them come back sooner than later, because it's like you can't really slide into maintenance mode until you do some damage control. So you can do maintenance mode in the morning so much easier than trying to do damage control in the evening, because you're just going to have all that day's stuff to kind of unpack first, and then you can kind of get to the deeper stuff. So for real deep level breath work, morning is ideal. And even before you've eaten, before you've had coffee or anything, just get the body oxygenated, and that's your sure way to start off having a really good day. Absolutely, Nikki, go ahead. Yeah.
Jackie, so what breath work would you suggest in the morning?
In the mornings? That's a
Just
great
all
question.
that we did, all the exercise that we did now?
Everything. My favorite is to do the double breath or the tri breath, because I usually like to listen to music, and I get like with my kids, we always have music going in the car, and it's kind of like just sort of like our fun time. I'm like, guys, want to do breath work? They're like, you can't do it while you're driving, Mom. Like, because it's just, I'm such a geek sometimes, but we always have music going usually at home. So I like doing it to music, but that's not everybody's thing, right? So if you had to just pick one, my favorite is to do like a 6-6 breath and do a quick hold for 10 seconds. So I literally do 6-6 breaths I like to do, if I can, about 20, because it kind of gets me into that really oxygenated state, like just 26-6 breaths, and then a good hold for about 10 seconds, let it go, and then I hold it again when I let go for another 10 seconds. That's my favorite that's my favorite morning meditation breathwork thing. So it's literally, yeah, about 20 to 30 of the 6-6 breaths, and then on the breath in, retain, hold for a good 10, and then on the breath out, I again retain and hold about 10, and then I'm just, let's go. Yes, it's actually, that's a really good one for anxiety too, because it kind of, if you're going to get really motivated, the shorter breaths are good. So start with 4-4, even just, I do 6-6 because 4-4, it's not enough for me to kind of get that nice full breath. So literally, like, that was my key to start. I would do a 4-4 and do the retention, because it's the 4-4 is going to pick it up, and it's actually going to give you a little bit more go. I need to ground myself first thing in the morning, because I get up happy and running, and it's like a little too much for everybody in this house. Anyway.
You're so freaking cool.
So that's why
you are the coolest of cool. I've never met anyone as cool as you. I promise you. It's like,
I wish my kids thought that, honestly.
I'll be one of them. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I love you.
I don't mind.
Honestly. So that is my, so try 4-4, breath hold retention, in on 10, out on 10, and you're gonna be rocking it. You can't go wrong.
I really like the 6 is it square breath,
box
6-inch
print.
molds. You know, I really felt the whole sacral and
Yeah, you guys caught that. Hey, it was like I had to ground everybody and get us centered again because there was just like
it opened so much for me, and with my hip
felt
it
that.
felt great. Yeah, it was really good clearing for
Good.
me.
Oh, and this
Yeah.
is the thing, it moves stuff through. We're not working on a thing. We're not trying to figure it out. We're not fixing anything. It's just letting the body let this go. And that is something that not a lot of people can embrace, right? Like it's not everybody can go there. I applaud you guys so much for going there, right? Like
Yeah.
not everyone is going to do this. It's amazing.
I read something today, Jackie, and everybody. It was quite intriguing because I thought, wow, they said when you actually have a low breath, like not breathing properly, the body is actually going through stress.
Oh, yeah.
It stresses the body.
It
There's
stresses the body.
yes, there
And
is
the
such a
body
chemical
going into
response.
stress mode. And then it's like
It
this
does.
fight flight, kind of thing.
Exactly. And
This
that's
is what
exactly it.
is so important.
And this is it. Like I have breakdowns of all of the different chemical processes that have, and that's where the certification kind of brings it all together, because it's all about how the mindset works, how the chemicals, how that ATP response happens, how that pineal gland actually starts to expand again, right? Like it actually, there is science behind it. This is big stuff. Like it really is. I really sort of jumble it all into a little, like, here it is in an hour or less, but it's big stuff. Like it's such big stuff. So yeah. So how about you, Christiana? How did you do? I'm sorry I shared, like, I gave away all your secrets today. I love you.
You're safe.
Well, let's
No worries.
assume because I get to stay secret. What the heck, Jackie? No, it was
There's
so
nothing
amazing.
secret about you, my girl.
I know, right? No, that's the truth. Oh, well, first of all, it's, a difference between today and Tuesday for me was Tuesday, I got very, very tired.
Okay.
I was exhausted. And today I actually feel a little bit energized, which is a really cool feeling, really cool difference. There was so much that I don't know when exactly it happened, but my body feels so open right now.
Nice.
Like open to receiving good and positive things that
I have the biggest goosebumps. I can't believe you're saying that right now.
that I just like, can I go teach a class somewhere?
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible.
Amazing.
You mentioned 20 of the breaths that kind of shocked my system for a split second. I might try to do 5, so I'll let you know how that goes.
Totally. And that's the thing, is everybody's completely different, right? So even if I'm guiding, like, do 6 in, 6 out, and you're like, nope, you need to follow your body is going to tell you more strongly than I am. And I always want people to pay attention to that. That's why at first too, I say nose, mouth doesn't really matter. At this point, you just want to be connecting with your breath and making sure that you are in touch with it, and it alters over time. Then you get to be like, you just feel like doing nasal breathing, and then you notice a difference when you do mouth breathing. And so you can play with it a little bit more. I really wanted to give everybody just like the groundwork to kind of be able to play with it a little bit safely. And then next week we can answer questions and all that kind of stuff too. So
would I be allowed to ask a question or no?
Of course.
Well, you had mentioned that there are certain times of the day when it's harder. So I'm just wondering, when it's harder, is there anything we should do, like drink afterwards, or like anything to make it maybe a little bit easier on our body?
Exactly. So if it was at a point where you were really trying to do like a, breath retention kind of stuff and you're struggling, the biggest thing is that we want to not cause any more stress on the body. We want to be able to ease that. So by doing just a box breathing, like the 4 in, hold, 4 out, hold, 4 in, hold, 4 out, hold, and you hold for 4, it's all just 4. That both turns off the mind to allow some space, and it also kind of grounds you. So it's a really good one for kind of shifting some of that energy so that you can actually make it a little easier. The other thing is I love Epsom salts baths. I use a little bit, I use like 2 cups of Epsom salts and about a 1/4 cup of baking soda. And then I throw some oils in there. And when I drain the tub, I let the tub totally drain so that all the toxins can just sort of be pulled out. I drink some water while I'm in the tub. You can bring like a small bath towel in and soak it in the water and wrap it around your neck while you're in the tub. You can just like detox as much as possible. Again, to create more space in the body. But the breath is an amazing way to create that space too. So even if you've had a really hard day, just doing some really nice box breathing, that'll help you even fall asleep. It's enough to kind of calm your mind. And doing those silent breaths too can kind of make that switch go on and off. So that will sometimes be enough to get people to be able to actually get that oxygen in. And of course, when we are working together, I'll do things like if I'm working on someone, I'll actually help to press all that air out of their diaphragm, and we do some serious stuff. And like you can actually create more space, because stale air does get stuck in, especially when you know, if a person's always that's like those little twists in the fascia, they just wind right up until nothing can sort of move through there. So it's hard for people to allow that area to expand sometimes. It can be really difficult.
Yeah, honestly, that's a little bit how I'm feeling right now. I feel
Yeah.
like there's a little bit of stale air, and
Yeah.
I feel very, very open. What is open, but
Nice.
I feel just almost right below my belly button. I feel like there's
That's
just
that
a little
sacral
bit of,
plexus.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
That was
not
where I
much,
started that.
but
Yeah. Well, when you are, I'll just tone that down. That was what I had to actually pull some stuff from the heart. It was just so big. I just literally brought that energy down a little bit from the heart, and I'll kind of do the same for your sacral plexus here. But one of the things that can actually get you to be able to kind of break any sort of stress response that's happening from the body is literally just taking a couple minutes to sort of get with your breath. Pretend that you're sucking it in and out through a straw. You can do anything. There's nothing you can do wrong. It's literally a matter of shifting that actual focus. Does that make sense? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Was there any more questions?
I guess I would like to just ask you, because the only breathwork training I've had is the Leonard or rebirthing breathwork.
That's right too.
Yeah, and so to me, when you say breathe in and out of the mouth, that's kind of like where the wave brings trauma up out of the body at that point, when you're doing that sort of fast in and out of the
Right.
mouth.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. I was just wondering, in comparison to this, oops, sorry.
That's okay. Sorry, no, go ahead. Were you going to say something else?
No, I was just going to ask you about the difference in that, just or whether at some point in the training you get to that, or do you ever use any of that in
We do.
the fast mouth breathing? Yes.
Yep. It's also sort of Wim Hof style, where you breathe in and out really quickly. Like it's all mouth breathing, because you are bringing stuff up. That is kind of a method of doing that.
Okay.
That's why with the nasal breathing, I find what I always sort of describe it as, and I don't know if this will fit for everybody, but I describe nasal breathing as laser pointing to an area.
Okay.
Mouth breathing is like kind of the full spectrum.
Right.
You're not going to, if you're going to just sort of open it up, if you don't want people to go into trauma response, you're just going to do nasal breathing. If you don't want to sort of exhibit any of those likelihoods of big responses at a certain time, that's when you would just kind of sit quietly with some nasal breathing. That's when we do sort of that trauma repair sort of state, where we have you do the heavy breathing, then we have you breathe in through the nose very deeply, and do the retention on that.
Mhm.
So you're quite right. You can do, there's actual patterns per se, depending on the kind. And every single kind has their breath technique.
Right.
And that is what they've actually done studies on them. They've drawn from different things to sort of point in that direction, right? Soma is all about in through the nose and out through the mouth. But what I found with people with Soma, sometimes they just have to mouth breathe to be able to do it. And they get so caught up on, is it nose or mouth? The biggest thing is that you're doing it and you're allowing the body to, right? And if you're doing something that you're fighting against, it's going to be really hard to be able to move through it. It's kind of like a massage. You got to know when it's too hard or too soft. So I watch the person for response. I listen, I look at their breath to see what's going on. If they're not breathing, I'm probably pushing a little too hard. If I ask them to breathe and they still can't, then I know I'm pushing too hard. Or if they say, I'll pay you double if you stop that right now, I know I'm pushing too hard.
Oh my God, Jackie. Okay, let me out of here right now.
That's my gauge. But you know, because sometimes
Funny.
I'll be trying to, someone thinks they need a really deep massage, and like I've even had a couple celebrities, they're like, I need it deep, and I'm like, okay. So I went at it deep, and then they're like, I'm not so deep, like, okay, hold on. And so they think that that's what they need, but when they had their biggest releases was when I actually was just holding and doing energy work on them, and they were like, it was great. They're like, what was that?
Touch, energy work, or the lightest touch is what calms the sympathetic nervous
Yep.
system the
And
most.
creates the most response.
A light touch massage is probably the most profound massage I ever had.
Just
So-
think about someone touching the back of your neck super lightly with a kiss right now. It goes all the way down, right? All the way down. That's that nervous system. That's that parasympathetic nervous system you just felt.
Yep.
And that's what happens with the breath, right? It's all in our mind. We can control all of it. We can give ourselves a dopamine hit like that anytime, right? So
Wow.
beautiful. So beautiful. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.
Right.
And thank you guys so much.